Behold, the ugly truth that is my face. Do I look as tired as I feel? I do have some coffee. I was going through my uploads and realized that I've never done like a no makeup look. And since I don't really feel like wearing a bunch of makeup today, but I do want to get something on my face because I did want to film a video, I figured today was as good a day as any to film something like that, because I kind of wanted to film something involving the Wet N Wild Photofocus line that I've been talking about so often on my channel. I moisturize with the 100% organic cold pressed rosehip seed oil from The Ordinary. I'll just let it sink into my skin really well. I also used the MAC Lightful C Vibrancy Eye Cream. I definitely have a little bit of peeling going on underneath my eyes right now. I feel like once I get some makeup on my skin, it might enhance some of that, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna start with the Wet N Wild Photofocus foundation. I use the color Peach Natural. I just kind of swipe the foundation onto my beauty blender itself, and I work in sections. So I start with my neck, I start right under my beard. I like to work kind of around my tattoos. So here I start kind of on the sides of my nose and kind of work that into my chin, my cheek area, upper lip. When I first bought this foundation and I was first using it, I did notice for sure that it definitely did emphasize a lot of texture. It emphasized pores. In fact, it kind of showed off a lot of things on my skin that I didn't even know was an issue. And I really liked the powder, the setting powder, the Photofocus setting powder. The powder is tinted, but it's still kind of translucent. It comes in different shades, so if you want to use it, we'll get into that in a minute. Another swipe on my beauty blender. And then I am going to work on the forehead. Again, in these lights and in the monitor and probably in the video itself, like my arm and my hand look so fucking orange. It doesn't look like this in real life. It doesn't, I swear. Then what I'll do is I'll actually kind of go in and I'll really kind of press whatever's left on that sponge into my hairline. And I'm gonna do that with like my bronzer and contour powder and stuff later. I get that like really far back into my hairline. One more swipe, and this is gonna be for the nose. But yeah, back to what I was saying about the texture issues, is that once I had the idea to really coat my skin in a lot of oil and let that really soak into my skin and sit there for a while, it made a huge difference in how the Photofocus foundation looked on my skin. I feel like if you just use your normal kind of like everyday moisturizer that you would normally use and then go in with this, I think it really does emphasize a lot. But I think if you kind of over moisturize and then set with the powder, obviously I feel like then you have to really set it to make it last all day, especially if you have all that oil going on underneath, and especially on an oily skin type like mine. Since I want to use pretty much this whole line, I am going to go in with the Photofocus concealer. I have this in the shade Light Medium Beige. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of get it in the corner there, and then kind of on the top too. I really picked the wrong day to make a video focused on skin. God, yeah, that looks like shit up close. But from a distance, it looks fine. And again, who's that close to your face? Nobody. So that's foundation, that's concealer. Now, I'm gonna go in with a couple of different powders. I'm going to start with the Wet N Wild Photofocus Pressed Powder in the shade Golden Tan to kind of set the perimeter of my face. And then I'm gonna go in with a lighter powder to set the center of my face. So I'm basically just gonna go in with a large powder puff. And I usually start kind of in this area, my cheek area. My neck, the corners of my forehead, my temple area, and up into the recess of my hairline right there. Then I'm gonna set the center of my face with a Frankenstein cocktail that I made. This is a loose setting powder that I made out of all kinds of stuff, honestly. I wanted something that would really be good to set my T-zone and my under eye area and have like a subtle luminosity to it, but not really add too much color. Something that was still gonna be like really, really light. And I'll kind of hit my nose, my forehead, yeah, and then just really, especially on the nose, just kind of really press that into the skin. If you have normal to dry skin, you could probably go in with less powder than I'm using, but since I'm so oily, this really helps to make my foundation last all day long with zero touch-ups. So then I'm gonna go in with MAC Give Me Sun, and this one obviously is a bronzer, and it's gonna help to match my face to my, you know, to my fake tan body. Now, I don't buff my bronzer on. I don't buff any powders over top of a cream or a liquid foundation. I will kind of buff it onto my ears, but I just kind of pat it into my skin. Now see, I'm kind of pressing that up into my hair. And again, that way you don't have that weird kind of like empty spot where your scalp underneath your hair looks white, where you can just kind of see where your makeup ended. It kind of bronze up the neck area and, you know, kind of bring that warmth down. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to contour, but I figure I might as well. So I'm going to go in with Shade Stir from MAC. I'm actually going to start by contouring my double chin, hangy fat neck area underneath my beard, just to kind of recede that area back a little bit more. I just kind of take that and press it kind of like high up, like almost onto my actual cheekbone. I used to go underneath my actual cheekbone, but that kind of brought my contour like way down here. I'd rather keep it up here. I feel like when I do the contour a little bit higher, it actually just kind of, it elongates and kind of lifts my entire face. Where if I do my contour where my actual hollow in my cheekbone is, then it just kind of creates like a stripe in the middle of my face and just kind of cuts it off in half and just makes it look kind of smaller and weirder and rounder, and I don't know. And then just a tiny bit, whatever's left over on my brush, then I'll kind of like push that up just into the highest part of the recess of my hairline right there. And then I will kind of like take whatever's left on my brush too and just kind of lightly sweep right in front of my ears, just to kind of slim my face in just a tiny bit more. I'm going to use this shade by Wet N Wild. This is Apricot in the middle. And this one's just like a nice kind of like peachy apricot tone blush. I'll use my blush on the top of my cheek contour, kind of like really right up into where you would highlight. And then I'll layer the highlighter over top of that. And then just kind of, I'll take my blush and I'll also kind of sweep it right underneath where I did that forehead contour in the recesses there. And just kind of sweep that around. That way the blush isn't just like so much like blush on the cheek as it is something to just kind of like warm up the face a little bit more and add just a little bit of like a pinky tone back into my skin a little bit, if that makes sense. Going in with my medium-sized beauty blender, dry actually, and just kind of picking up a little bit more of that Frankenstein setting powder that I made. Then I'll go in and I'll just kind of press that into the under eye, set that. I'll set the actual eyelid with that. And this actually isn't really emphasizing too much of that dry, peely skin that I have going on, actually, surprisingly. We all have flaws and imperfections. I'm just gonna pull my hair down since this thing's coming out of my hair anyway. So then my nose contour and my eyebrows, and my actual eye contour, that kind of all just ends up being really the same thing. I'm gonna go in with Naked by Urban Decay. I use the Sigma Blending E25 brush. This was a freebie that I got from buying a bunch of brushes. This comes in a full size as well. It only takes a little bit of extra product and a little bit of extra pressure to make a nose contour look really fucking obvious. God, look at that right there. It is definitely time for some more Botox. Yeah, so with that same brush and that same eyeshadow, I'm just starting the beginning of my eyebrow. I like it to be really soft and really natural looking right there at the front of the brow. For the tail of my eyebrows, and to kind of feather it into the front of my eyebrows a little bit, I'm going to be going in with this much used, much loved paint pot from MAC. This is quite natural, and I'm going to be using an Anastasia number 12 brush. I don't want them to look overly defined. I don't want the tail to be too dark. I want this to be as based in reality as humanly possible, so. And you definitely could go in and give them like darker hair strokes if you wanted to, just to add that much more kind of dimension and depth to them. But realistically, I'm trying to make this as like non-makeup-y as possible. So I just feel like if I go in and darken anything up or give it any more kind of depth or more kind of dimension, I feel like it's just really gonna read as makeup. And I think that's really kind of what I'm trying to avoid with a look like this. So I'm not gonna do that today. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna go back in with that same Sigma brush, a little bit more of that Naked eyeshadow, and I'm just gonna kind of start to add just a little bit of something around my eye. I'm gonna use Precious Petals from Wet n Wild, and I'm gonna use that one on a Morphe Y14, and just really kind of lightly, just barely a little bit of glow there. Curl my lashes, and that might just kind of pop my eyes open as much as I want them to be, and then we might be able to just skip mascara altogether. I'm gonna take a spoolie and just, you know, kind of get any dead skin out of there because, you know, my eyelids are peeling. So let's go ahead and just kind of brush any of that skin out of there. I suppose now would be like, you know, this would be an appropriate time for like a clear mascara, which I don't own. So I'm gonna use the Subculture lip pencil from MAC and just kind of lightly. And then I'm gonna go over my lips with just like a dab of lip balm, just to give them a little bit of sheen. Yeah, so next time we'll get back to something a little bit more fun, but that was my no makeup look. I like how it turned out. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscription button down below. Tell all your friends about it, and I'll see you on the next one.